Today, Janet Yellen was up on Capitol Hill. It was the first of her two-day testimony. She was before the United States Senate today. Tomorrow, she's up before the House of Representatives, where she talks about monetary policy. And then you have a bunch of senators and congressmen that really engage in political grandstanding. I mean, to me, a lot of the people asking Janet Yellen questions are really just trying to speak for sound bites for their local media. They're trying to score brownie points with their own constituents, and they ask all sorts of ridiculous things. One senator had to make some comments about global warming. I mean, do you think global warming is really one of the things that the Fed considers when it's setting interest rates? Is what's going on with global warming? They're all trying to bring up their own agenda. Elizabeth Warren is up there, and she's trying to get Janet Yellen to criticize the Trump administration's efforts to potentially roll back Dodd-Frank because she believes that it was the banks that caused the financial crisis. She doesn't lay any of the blame at the foot of Congress itself with Fannie or Freddie or the Federal Reserve with the artificially low interest rates. She thinks it was just Wall Street greed that blew up Wall Street, and that the reason that we haven't had another financial crisis was because of the great legislation that was passed, Dodd-Frank, and that somehow if any bit of that is rolled back, we're just going to unleash another wave of rampant Wall Street speculation, and they're going to blow up the economy all over again. Probably one of the dumbest comments, we get this all the time, was from one of the senators about why we need more minorities. This particular senator, and he wasn't even a minority himself. Usually it's, you get a black senator or congressman asking this type of question. The senator asked Janet Yellen, why, we need more African Americans on the Fed. We don't have enough African Americans, and we need to have some there because, blacks represent a significant percentage of the population or the workforce, and they need some representation at the Fed. And I'm thinking, what is this guy talking about? I mean, why? I mean, do you have to be black to conduct monetary policy on behalf of other blacks? I mean, does that mean that only white people can conduct monetary policy for white people? I mean, what is black monetary policy? I mean, I wonder what would a black banker at the Fed do differently than a white banker simply because they happen to be black? I mean, it doesn't matter, even if they grew up in a particular environment, right? And they're trying to say, well, culturally, they share this cultural experience. Well, what does that have to do with monetary policy? None of that matters. I mean, either interest rates are too high or they're too low, and you have to set the appropriate monetary policy. And the decision about where interest rates should be is going to be made without any regard to your background, how you grew up, whether you grew up in a broken family or whether you had an intact family, whether you grew up in a poor neighborhood or a rich neighborhood. The appropriate level of interest rates is going to be what it is, regardless of that. Now, of course, I don't think anybody should be setting interest rates. I think this whole thing is ridiculous. I don't think we should even have a Fed, let alone worry about the racial breakdown of the members. But to the extent that you buy into the nonsense that interest rates should be set by a bunch of people, right, instead of the free market setting interest rates, the way the free market sets all other prices, if you think we need a group of people trying to discern what the appropriate rate of interest should be, what difference does it make whether they're white or black, whether they're male or female, gay or straight? They should all be deriving at the same result. And if you're going to accept the fact that different races may come up with different policy based on their race, then it's an admission that the whole thing is nonsense and they shouldn't even be doing it in the first place. So let's just shut it down.